What's up there, Nick from Milburn?
What's up, Blackjack? What's going on? How's everything?
I am sitting in a car in frigid Hasbrook Heights in between high school games I'm broadcasting. So I'm not at the Prude tonight. How are you doing?
Good. I'm not I have a meeting tonight, so I gotta tell you, it's friggin' freezing. Yeah, kind of
This is
glad I
horrible.
didn't go to the game, but I'm not gonna say that. Yeah.
This is horrible. This is horrible. By the way, before we start, Nick, I think I just happened to be checking out something on CBS Sports, and I had to laugh because they have a big article about what an abomination the Rutgers season is going with 2 5-star recruits on their team.
Good.
Like right? I mean, I couldn't be more happier to see that.
I know.
Then we're doing bad, but hey, they had much higher expectations than we have, and they're doing just as bad.
Yeah, they just can't. I mean, Harper and Bailey had a really good game the other day. Hey, Paul.
Hey, Nick.
Hey, Paul.
Bailey had a really good game. Harper's the player. I mean, that's a tough league, but they're just not all that. It's not. They're top heavy, I guess, and it's not. And they're done after this year. So if they don't do anything this year, good luck.
Yeah, what a waste of recruits that you and all the expectations to maybe make the NIT at this point.
Yeah.
So hey, is Paul just a fan? Because hey, he makes great analysis, but he's just a fan.
I'm just that's what do I know? I'm just a fan. How you doing, Blackjack?
I'm not too bad. I actually have some broadcasting tonight up here in Bergen County, so I'm in between games in my car because it's too loud in the gym. There's a JV game going on. So
okay.
Blackjack, you're a teacher, right? You teach.
Well, I'm not a teacher, but I have a couple of kids that I do show. I've shown the ropes how to broadcast games and media and whatnot. And yeah, so as for St. Mary in Rutherford, and they're both graduating this year. So we'll see what happens after this season. But no, it's been a nice ride, and
Wow.
and they're both going to college to do this. So
that's awesome.
And they got a much bigger advantage. They have a good stepping stone now to go into college next year and really learn and take this experience they've had and take it to the next level.
Do you know when you're at the Rock? Do you know Mr. Rhodes? He's the team photographer. Dave Rhodes.
If I see him, I probably know the dark-haired guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's a teacher at Milburn High. He's a math teacher. My son's math teacher, but he also does what you're doing.
Oh wow!
They have a program where they give these kids an opportunity. I think it's great. It really is. And you're right. When they go to college, they have a step up on everybody.
And then my guy Joey, who covers Seton Hall as well, but is a St. John's graduate. He showed him some of the stuff early on and what to expect in college, so they're ready to go.
Where are they going?
The one is considering Seton Hall or Montclair State.
Okay.
The other one, Indiana, Syracuse, or Maryland.
Syracuse has a very good program,
yes.
But it's very tough and competitive once you get there.
Very much so. Very much so. Let's say a quick hi to our guy, the Stack Monster, is joining us.
Yo, what's going on?
Wait, you're not at the game? Oh, you're at the game?
Well, we're going to begin the game in a little bit. We must eat. We came right from work, picked up my boss. She doesn't want to be on camera, but I just want to know we've got a few changes today, hoping to bring some luck. We got a little facial hair. I'm trying to put the goat back in goatee. All right, and then to bring a little positive vibe here as we wait for our poke bowl, whatever that is. Got some salmon and some chicken and some more goodies.
Wait, where are you? You're not in the arena yet? Where are you?
There we are. I'm on Market Street, right around the corner. We're at
Give him a plug.
Here we are. We're getting some food. Got to have some sustenance. So I'll be back out.
They're gonna pay us for that.
Really.
Yeah.
Pay us for that plug.
Are you interested in what's on the menu? Let's see what we got here. We got we got Mogi tea. You pick what you want. You want rice, brown rice, romaine salad, or noodle. Then you pick a protein, 1, 2, or 3 proteins, anywhere from 11.75 to 16.55 if you like 4 proteins. Me, I like my protein. It helps, especially at my age, trying to put on and keep lean muscle mass, very difficult. But I digress. We're here to talk about Seton Hall basketball. So I just want you to know I got my NIT championship shirt. I got the goatee going, and let's see if we reverse the trend. All right, guys? And
Yep.
I'll come back at you when I'm in the Prudential Center. All right?
Enjoy your dinner.
Sounds
Stack
good.
Monster,
Enjoy.
over and
Tell
out.
Mrs. Stackmonster we said hello.
Nick from Milburn says hello, dear. He got the message. We aim to please here at Stack Monster Productions. We'll catch you on the inside.
No,
All right,
Blackjack
guys.
Productions, not Stack Monster Productions.
That's all right.
Blackjack, come on.
He's part of the team.
Whatever you guys say.
See you
I'm
soon.
malleable. All right.
We'll see you soon.
We'll catch you on the inside.
Yep. All right. Before we start the show, guys, I want to preface the our pregame show. Welcome, and if you're joining us now or watching us afterwards, we're getting some really terrific numbers in our show. And I look small because I'm in my car right now in between basketball games, so I look a little different right now than I usually do. But like I said last time before Georgetown and DePaul were the doormats of the Big East for years. Now, we almost pulled it off in Georgetown, right? We got to win this game tonight, fellas. We cannot be. I mean, again, I'm a little behind in the current state of the team. How is DePaul? Before we get to Paul's analysis, Nick, how is DePaul? Do we have a shot tonight?
We're 2-point favorites. What this game reminds me of, and I don't know how far, when we first went into the Big East, there were 9 teams. On the day before the actual Big East tournament, there was an 8-9 game at the Garden that no one showed up to except diehard fans like me. And we were in it like 3 years in a row with like Providence and Boston College. And this kind of reminds me of the 8-9 game. We have to win this game. I mean, we have this game, and then we're at Providence and we're at Butler. But we have to win 2 of those 3, if not 3 of those 3. But we have to start right now. This is a must-win game for this squad.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, they were the doormats for years. We know Georgetown's getting better with Cooley down there now. DePaul still seems to be a step behind. Hey, look, we're having a bad year so far. We know that. But hopefully, that first W, we have a new year now, and hopefully it takes us to bigger and better things. And like we keep mentioning, we should be a second half of the Big East season type team where, at the very least, we're playing spoiler, if not trying to get to a smaller postseason tournament. All right, so let's take this over to Paul, just a fan, for his pregame analysis. What do you got for us, Paul?
Well, thank you, Blackjack. So DePaul is coming into this game off 100-56 annihilation by Villanova, which is the worst loss by anybody in Big East history. DePaul started the season 7-0, but they've lost 6 of their last 8 and are 0-4 in conference play. And their 9-0 record against their outside conference schedule with some weak games. And then when they play Texas Tech and Northwestern from the Big Ten, they got pounded pretty good. Their closest game they had was a 70-63 home loss in overtime to Providence. And they currently have the longest active conference losing streak of any team in the country. They have not won a Big East game since January 18th, 2023. So, as you mentioned, Blackjack, this is a team that's had some problems of their own, and we'll have to see what happens tonight. DePaul's the epitome of the new era in college basketball. Their coach is named Holtman. He was at Butler, where he went to 3 straight NCAA tournaments, 70-31 overall, 34-20 in the Big East. Went to the Sweet 16 one year, and then he left to Ohio State for the big bucks. When he got to Ohio State, he didn't do as well as they wanted to, and he actually got fired in the middle of last season. And if he hadn't got the job at DePaul, he was going to get paid $12.8 million not to coach Ohio State. Now, you can get me to not coach Ohio State for a lot less than $12.8 million.
I'm with you on that. I second that.
Now, DePaul, there is no player on DePaul's squad this season that played 1 minute for DePaul last season. This is a completely revamped lineup. And frankly, sometimes it looks it. Now, what are we talking about in terms of the game tonight? DePaul is banged up. Their best rebounder and their point guard, that's David Skogman and Connor Enright, respectively, are both game time decisions. Skogman's missed the last couple of games. Enright went out of the Villanova game with a shoulder injury late in the first half and didn't come back. Their best player is Jacob Meyer, no relation. He's a sophomore guard transfer from Coastal Carolina, and he's leading the team in scoring at 14.3 points a game. They've Isaiah Rivera comes off the bench, is their second leading scorer. So they've got a couple of decent players, and they've got a couple of guys who are banged up. Offensively, they want to shoot a lot of threes. They take 28 threes a game, and they make 11 of them. They're going to make more threes in this game than we will take, most likely, if it goes the way the games have gone up to this point. During, I was watching the Villanova DePaul game, and Lapis suggested that the DePaul's interior defense is suspect, and that might help Isaiah Coleman or Chauncey Jenkins. These are guys who like to get in the paint and make inside moves. This very well may be that they get in the paint and have some uncontested shots. Bottom line on this game is that if we play well, we should win. DePaul isn't that good. The problem is we haven't been that good either. We are 187th in the country in assists per field goals made. I don't know if everybody's familiar with the schoolyard game of 21. That's what our offense looks like. And it's reflected in that stat. And defensively, we haven't played well either. We are, since the Big East Conference play started, we're allowing teams to shoot 55% against us. And we are allowing teams to score 78% against us. So it's going to be, I think, up to, if our team plays well at home, we should win. But what do I know? I'm just a fan.
Great job there, Paul. Great job. Nick, any comments?
No, that was spot on, and that's as good as a pregame analysis that you'll get. And I love Paul, but Paul, I don't care about DePaul. This isn't your, Ray Myers, and I grew up watching DePaul basketball with Ray Myers and Mark Aguirre and Clyde Bradshaw from East Orange, and they were a Final Four team. This isn't that DePaul team. I'm going to say we need to go out and have fun and play basketball with passion and joy and forget about everything else. Recent memory, you had Tom was posting stuff about Angel Delgado and Desi Rodriguez. Those guys loved the game. They went out, they threw their heart out there, and they played and they had fun. I don't see that. It's after all, it is a game. You need to have fun. We have some talent. Coleman scored 20 points 2 games in a row. Isaiah, take the ball to the dish, smile, have fun, play tough defense, do everything you can. We need a win tonight. And, they don't have that much more talent than us. There's no reason why we shouldn't win this game tonight. But just play like you did in the schoolyard. Go out in a good way. Go out, play with passion, have some fun. And, I know Paul's big in the stats. We're third in the Big East in 23 points, bench points. I don't know if that's a plus because we're only averaging like 60 points a game. Our starters need to step it up. We're not getting a lot of production out of the point guard, and we're not getting a lot of production out of the 4 and 5. We're a wing team, and that's where all our scoring comes from. We need production in other areas to be successful. But let's just go out there and play the game the way it's meant to be with passion.
You're right. You know what, Nick? Here's a little nugget for you. Play the game like the women's team is playing right now.
Right. Play like Faith Massonis plays with joy and she goes out there and she's smiling and she's having fun and she's moving the ball around and she's, making good passes and high-fiving her teammates. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. It could be a quick segue into the women's team. Nick, our other Nick, is actually in the band, so he's probably at the pre right now. But fellas, and those watching us, if you're missing the boat, if you do not check out a women's game this year, they are. This is probably the best team I've seen from them since I've been covering them the past 6, 7, 8 years. Nick, you've been watching them a lot longer than I have. What are your thoughts?
I think you just hit on the magic word, Blackjack, team. They're playing like a team. They have a lot of different interchangeable parts, but it's teamwork. Again, I've said this a million times. Faith is a coach's daughter. I don't know if you know this. My Chris Durkin told me this. She has 9 siblings. I mean, 8 or 9 siblings. That's amazing. So she knows how to share and she knows how to communicate. Right? When you have that many kids in your house, that's what you know to do. And she does that on the court. She knows where every player should be on every possession, and she moves them around, and she's not afraid to take a shot. She's not afraid to take the ball to the hole, and she's not afraid to make a good pass or set a screen. And you have a coach, you talk about passion. He's Italian like us. He's out there with passion. He talks with his hands like I'm doing right now. And, he shows energy, and the teams take the personality of their coach often. And this team is, and in a very positive way. I love the women's team. And I just want to give you a heads up. I'm trying to get some extra tickets. I have 4 tickets right now for UConn at home, Paige's Last Dance. I want it to be loud. I want us to be proud. It would be amazing if we could knock Paul's favorite coach, Gino, off. I'm hoping. So, but it's sold out, guys. So let's just be proud, and we got a great thing going with the women's team. What do you think, Paul?
Well, I think you were talking before about how the men's team needs to go out and have some fun. I think it's pretty obvious that the women's team is having a blast the way they're playing. Ball movement is tremendous. It's just. But they're playing basketball and they're having a blast doing it. And that is a lot of fun to watch. And I think that the women's team is probably as much fun to watch as any team in New Jersey right now, men's or women's in college basketball. I mean, they're playing. I haven't been to a game. I've listened to a couple on the radio. But I do want to get to a game or two with the women's team, just because it just seems like they're having a blast playing basketball.
No, they are. I mean, it's a team that's extremely interchangeable. I can't make every game. I try to make as many games as possible, and I'll go to the game on Saturday, and there'll be somebody new in the starting 5 or our first 8 players. Like that team is so deep right now, with the perfect mix of freshman recruits and the transfer players and the graduates. It's just amazing. Right, we're approaching 6 p.m. Tip-off's a little more than a half hour. It's a frozen night. We're all obviously not at the game tonight. Stack Monster is. If I was there tonight, I would think it would be kind of a sparse crowd. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Someone told me today that tickets were, and this is kind of embarrassing, on StubHub for $1.
Oh,
I mean, I got more than that for some of my tickets, but it's an early start. It's a frigid evening, and you're playing DePaul at home. So, but again, it's momentum. So if we could get this game, and then the next home game is St. John's, and after this game, it's Providence and Butler. So things change. We've all been around sports our whole lives. Things change quickly. Sports is momentum. Things can go up and things can go down in a hurry. And there's no reason why we can't turn this around. But it's up to us to turn this around. It's up to the team. We have a long history and we've had a lot of success lately, and maybe some people are spoiled with it, but I'm not, because I've been there, ups and downs, and you go through this and you always have to pull for this team. I mean, I'm not going anywhere. I'm never going to hop off this bandwagon. I'm actually thinking of getting, I made an appointment for next Monday to get a tattoo. So a pirate tattoo, old school, not new school. So yeah, I love this university. I love this team, and let's hope we can, pardon the pun, righten the ship.
No, yeah, definitely. Hey, my freshman year was the year they went to the finals, so I have redemption on my mind, until they put me in a casket one day. Speaking of, you mentioned Nick, we got St. John's coming up. We all know the reception is going to be very icy as the air is tonight for Kadari Richmond. But do you guys really think it was? I mean, it's pretty obvious this was a pretty bad move for him. What do you guys think?
Paul, you want to take that first?
Yeah. So I think that the jury has to still be out, right? It's January 8th, and there's 2 more months of the regular season plus the NCAA tournament, which right now St. John's looks like they're going to be in. So there is time for Kadari to step into that role. He's still doing a lot of what he did last year for us. He may score 8 points and get 5 assists and 2 steals, but the 8 points stop a 5-0 run from the other team. The steal turns a game around. The assist is a big one that changes momentum. He is in the middle of everything at St. John's, even though his numbers don't reflect it. Now, beyond that, you have to consider not just the NIL funds of this year, but what Pitino can do for somebody who's not going to play in the NBA. Rick Pitino has contacts with international teams. He knows coaches in Italy. He knows coaches in China, all over the world. So if you're a senior and you aren't going to be an NBA player, and I don't think Kadari Richmond is an NBA player. I don't think that he's got the body for it. And I don't think he's got the 3-point shot for it. So if you want to play overseas, playing at St. John's and having Rick Pitino help you, make phone calls for you, is something that right now I don't know that Coach Holloway has the same network. So I don't know that it's necessarily a bad move for Kadari Richmond, even though his numbers are down. He's not getting as many minutes in terms of the long term. And certainly we'll have to see when St. John's makes the tournament, how well he does in those games.
Paul, just remember this, though. In coaching, you have coaching trees, right? So Willard comes from the Pitino coaching tree, and Shaw comes from the Willard coaching tree. So it's all interconnected. So, yes, they I'm sure Pitino has connections, but I'm sure Willard has connections. And Shaw has connections because if he was very close to that Angel Desi team, and those guys, and Kadeen and Isaiah, and those guys are all overseas, doing very well right now. But Bobby's original question was, was it a good move for Kadari? I mean, financially,
that was the money.
Yeah,
that's from a player point of view.
Well, I knew it wasn't going to be a good move because it wasn't a good fit in styles. Kadari doesn't play up tempo. And Pitino plays up tempo. So now all of a sudden Pitino, and I saw this the other day, I couldn't believe it, throwing your players under the bus saying, he needs to gain weight, he's too heavy. Well, when Miles Powell came here, Seton Hall slimmed him down right away by hard work. You don't say it in the middle of the year. That's ridiculous. And that's bad. That's just, I don't know if it's bad personality or a personality flaw, but come on, Rick, that's BS. And then they tried to change his shot. Well, now they're in the kid's head, and it's just ridiculous. I'm not a Pitino fan at all. I remember when he coached the Knicks. I remember when he coached Providence, and he just goes from one opportunity to the other. And this, he was down and out, and Father whoever at St. John's decided to give him a chance, and the vitamin water guy loves him, and Francesca loves him, and But let's see. Not a fan of him, and I don't think he's besides the money. I don't think he's doing Kadari right. I think it's BS that he threw him under the bus for his weight.
Nick, though, he did that to his whole team last year, if you remember.
Yeah.
Right, with the 6 games left in the season, he basically made a statement that his team was out of shape, overweight, and Alumni Hall was a lousy place to play basketball in. And the thing is, they turned around and then won the next 6 games. So, I mean, I'm no fan of Rick Pitino either. I think that he basically stated NIL is great because now I can play the kids honestly as opposed to paying them under the table like I was at Louisville and Kentucky all those years.
Yeah.
He made that statement. And my father's a big fan of St. John's, and our bet is, will St. John's go to the Final Four, and how quickly will it be vacated after they make the trip? In the NIL world, it's probably harder to get. You don't need to cheat, so they might not get their trip vacated after all.
Yeah, they legalize cheating.
They legalize cheating, right? You just pay the kids now and don't worry about it.
By the way, this week's NIL tidbit: Quinn Ewers, someone's going to offer him $6 million to come back for one more year.
Insane.
You
can't blame the kids. Like you said, Kadari's probably going to get booed, whatever, but it's not him. I mean, someone from WSOU is going to boo Kadari or going to, not be a fan of Kadari. But if that kid got offered X amount of dollars to go to Fordham or Syracuse, they would go in a heartbeat. Someone from the band, if they got, I mean, come on, guys. No one can ever make a comment about anyone's financial situation or blame someone for legally and legitimately taking money and trying to better their family. This is America, and that's what it's all about. So basketball-wise, yes, but come on. If you're upset at Kadari because he left for the money, I'm upset that we couldn't afford to match the money. That's why I'm upset.
And I think that in the NIL, the real problem, in my opinion, with the NIL era is that the NCAA completely dropped the ball. The colleges don't know what they want to do.
No.
The ones with a lot of money love it because they can outspend everybody else. Quote unquote mid-majors, or I guess we would have to call them the small market teams.
Right. It's like Moneyball.
Yeah, exactly. They're trying to figure out how do we find a niche.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, you think about the Pac-10. That was a conference that existed for 100 years. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Reggie Miller, Reggie Jackson, Mark McGuire,
Bill Walton.
Yeah, Bill Walton,
Sidney Wicks, on and on and on.
All these tremendous athletes.
Gail Goodrich. Yeah.
And then the Big Ten Network calls Southern Cal and says, how'd you like to, we want to expand into LA. How would you like to join the Big Ten? You can get a big cut of our TV money. USC says, if we can bring UCLA, we'll do it. And the whole conference collapses in 3 months.
And now, John Wooden's rolling over in his grave. John McKay and John Wooden are rolling over in their graves.
Now, there needs to be somebody managing the money sports of college basketball, a commissioner, if you will, that can turn around and say this Wild West stuff has to end. We got to reconstitute the Pac-10. The Pacific Coast needs those teams to be in one conference, and we'll figure out how to make sure everybody gets their cut of money. Because it's not like there's not enough money to go around, right? There's billions being spent.
And Paul, to cut you off, these football schools have the utmost advantage because they can funnel money out to the basketball programs. We're not a football school. We are our best program, and that's basketball.
Penn State had revenues in excess of $100 million. I believe that our sports revenues were closer to $25 million. The new revenue sharing allows up to $20 million to be put into an NIL pool. Probably about 3 or 4 million will go to the men's basketball teams. Where are we going to get it? $4 million. Seton Hall does not have that kind of money. And they're doing some other things like educating, providing high quality Catholic education to the people in the Northeast, which, is a little bit more important for their mission than having a good basketball team, as much as we love to watch it.
Yeah, Bobby, to your point, and I saw a Lenardi thing, 13 SEC schools are projected to go to the dance. It's insane. That's a football conference. But like Paul said, they have the money. Show me the money. And
25 of the 34 at-large bids are coming from 2 conferences, the Big Ten and the SEC.
There you go.
I tell you, what's funny? You mentioned bracketology. If there's any slight silver lining to having an awful season, I'm spending a lot less time going through brackets, trying to figure out where Seton Hall is this year. So there's one sliver of silver lining in this whole thing is I got more time than myself now.
Well, it's
I'm trying to figure out where we are.
Conferences, basketball only conferences like the Big East are the writing's on the wall. Because how are we going to compete with those two conferences? It's insane.
And the other piece that bothers me about the whole concept of bracketology and what's going on now is ESPN did a preseason bracket. They did one November 1st. Their first bracket came out. We don't even know who the good teams are. Nobody's even practiced together. Nobody's played a game. Last year, we saw the Mountain West Conference get anointed, and they got 6 teams into the tournament. We got 3. We know who didn't go. And those 6 teams, 5 of them were out before the Saturday, Sunday games the first week. They all went out.
Yeah, the Mountain West went in at our expense. And the rumor going on is because, they were CBS and we were Fox, and they wanted to heighten the profile of the Mountain West, and they all got eliminated.
But they were talking about those teams in December.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I watched them play. They were slow. They weren't that good. And they all went out except for San Diego State. And, we won we won the NIT. So I think that they're making those. The Southeastern Conference got decided in December that they were going to be the best teams. Now those teams are good. I've seen a couple of them play. But I don't know how much better they are than everybody else, that they've got 6 teams in the top 10 and 13 teams out of 18 are in the tournament right now.
Yeah, but what they did was they had a really good non-conference record, and now they're going to beat up on each other. So
you're always losing the number 9 Auburn.
Right. Now they all have higher ratings.
And Nick, I have a question that just kind of dawned on me. You probably know this, maybe Paul yourself. I thought we hired RJ Barrett this offseason.
Well, that was a rumor.
I haven't seen him.
Yeah, no, we didn't. And yeah, that was the rumor that we were going to hire him, and the guy that was a teacher or a principal from Union was going to at his expense, but no, we did add one. We did add a coach. Again, I don't know what these guys are getting paid, or if they're getting paid, or who's a grad assistant, or who's whatever. I saw that all of a sudden one coach wasn't on the bench anymore, and then we had a new coach with no idea who he was, and he was on the bench. But I don't know if you remember at Willard's first it was a joint press conference when they got rid of Bobby and Phyllis, and they brought in Ann Donovan and Willard. And at that press conference, he said he was going to put Marcus Toniel on the staff. And, 30 years later, where's Marcus Toniel? So similar to, but that was public. This was rumored behind the scenes, but yeah. No.
Well, Marcus Toniel is an assistant coach at Montclair Immaculate under Jimmy Salmon, who's Tim Thomas's godfather and coached at Villanova.
The players, right? The players, Jimmy Solomon.
Tim Thomas is head coach at Paramus Catholic right now.
Tim Thomas, you know who his choices came down to?
Us and Villanova.
And he was like, who was the guy? Felipe Lopez, who came down to us in St. John's. But we were in on all these kids. We didn't get them all.
I've seen Tim in the circle around here every so often doing basketball, and I always joke to him, man. I used to go to your games at Patterson Catholic with my Seton Hall sweatshirt on, trying to sway your decision there.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I guess Stack Master is a little tied up. Let's go to our final thoughts. If Glenn happens to join us, we'll bring him on. I know it's getting close to tip-off over there in the Prudential Center. So what are your final thoughts of Seton Hall versus DePaul? Paul, you start us off.
Well, I wonder if Enright's going to play. And I'm also wondering if Skogman's going to play. If those two guys are not playing for DePaul and we don't win, we really ought to just pack it up right now. My other thought is, I'm hoping. I've watched a lot of basketball and I've seen teams that more than they don't gel. It seems like they don't like each other. Sometimes I look at the way Seton Hall plays and I look at the way Coach Holloway is using his rotation, and I'm saying there's something going on here behind the scenes that we don't know about that that could be affecting their play. And I hope that we don't see anything. I hope I don't see anything tonight that makes me feel that way. I'm thinking about you've seen Tuame not traveling to Cincinnati. Guys travel who are injured. I was surprised he got left home. And it may be nothing. It may just be that he was sick to his stomach and he didn't want to get an airplane. I don't know anything, right? I'm just a fan and I don't have access to the players. But it certainly looks like there's something going on amongst the coaches and the team that's a little bit more deep-seated than we can see on the floor. I hope I'm wrong. And again, I'm just speculating. But I hope I don't see that tonight. I hope I see guys who share the ball and are, and a coach who has a rotation where he's not starting a guy at point guard, letting him play 4 minutes, sending him down to the end of the bench, and we never hear from him again, which is what happened. Which is what happened in the in the last game that we played. What do you think, Nick?
I just think that, and I echo everything that you said. There's a lack of continuity with this squad. We play 10, 11 guys, but there's like no rhythm to it. They're not, it's like they're all on different pages. And that's why I said we have to go out and we have to have fun. I mean, that's a starting point. But there's a very little team chemistry right now. I don't see any. But winning and once you start losing, all that other nonsense creeps in. We all know that. We've all been in, work environments that weren't the best, and then all this nonsense happens, and this is no different than that. But winning changes everything, and it just starts with one win, and things can snowball positively. So we need a win tonight. We need a win, and we need to play Seton Hall basketball with passion. And it's DePaul. It's not UConn. It's not Kentucky. It's not an SEC school. We should beat and it's not Ray Myers, DePaul's team. We should beat this team, and let's go Pirates.
Yep. All right. Before we go, Glenn is with us.
Stack
Hey
Monster,
guys, I can't hear a word
where
you're
are
saying,
you?
but the players gonna be coming out in a few minutes. It's 7 minutes and 37 seconds. The game time. Stack Monsters, like we said before, I'm putting the goat back in goatee. As we wait for the players
Stack,
to come
enough
out,
with
I got
you. How's the
NIT
crowd? How's the
championship
crowd?
shirt on.
Look at the
Hopefully
crowd.
we can get everybody pumped up. Maybe bring us a little luck. We got cheerleaders. Say hello, cheerleaders. How's it going? Oh, we got a bunch of young players here. We got the St. Peter's. Guys, you want to say hi to everybody on TV? Say hi. That's St. Peter's. How old are you guys? 10-year-old. We got 10-year-olds. So in about 7 years, 8 years, you guys gonna be playing for the Pirates? We got some future Pirates here, guys. So anyway, this is Stack Monsters from a sparsely populated rock saying over and out. I'm getting ready to dap up the players. All right. Adios. Stack Monster, over and out.
Over and out.
He's great. I love that man. I love that man.
I guess my final thoughts echo Nick's final thoughts. You got one win, as you see in sports, can snowball and change the season. We had a last-second loss against Georgetown, last-second loss against Fordham, last-second loss against Rutgers, for God's sakes. The overrated team down in Piscataway. As I always say, F Rutgers. But we need this win tonight. It's important to start the year in a new wave. And like Nick and Paul said, hopefully that'll change the culture a little bit, give this team more confidence going into the meat of the Big East season.
Excellent. And where's Gizzy? I thought Gizzy was coming on tonight.
I don't know. Gizzy, I think she's camera shy. Right,
Yeah.
Gister?
Yeah, she got that whole gainful employment thing going. It gets in the way of watching basketball.
I know. It's that employment stuff for the birds. Anyway, on behalf of Nick from Milburn, Paul Just a Fan, Glenn Stackmonster, live from Peru. This is Bobby Blackjack. This is the Seton Hall Facebook group pregame show. We'll see you guys next time around. And Nick, who's next game? Who do we have next?
We are at the Dunk
Providence.
against the Providence Friars.
And what day is that?
Paul, what day is that?
I think it's Saturday.
Saturday.
I'll take a look.
Hold on. There's a message from our own CEO of the group there, Patrick Mind. She's busy making chicken parm. Patrick, I have a game to do. I'm starving. You made me more hungry, my friend.
Yeah,
Patrick,
Saturday.
I love you.
At
You
Providence
blocked me
game
on
is
Facebook,
Saturday,
but I still love you.
and the Providence game is Saturday at 5 p.m.
Wow, perfect.
Saturday at 5.
What are we going to be on, Bobby? 4? Oh, I don't think I can go on Saturday. I have a family. I'll find out.
Yeah, I may have to. I may do the women's game and I have to drive to work. So maybe I'll do the same thing. I'll pull over and use the iPad again. But hey, let's go Pirates.
Go Pirates.
Let's get that W tonight.
Woo!
Here we go.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you, guys.
Good night.